you ever get into a mind of a pastor, well, first of all, you don't want to do that. But I was praying about us in this church, and I want us to make an impact. And I was feeling kind of hopeless, and that we're not doing what I want us to do. And God just kind of stopped me. And He started bringing things to my mind of how this congregation, this little church, has made an impact in this community. And I'm just impressed with you. That your heart and your commitment is such that you don't care, or you don't seem to care, what happens necessarily here as much as is happening out there. And you've got a mind, you've got a mission mind, and you've got a mission intent that goes beyond our assemblage together. And I just thought it was awesome. So, if you'd like to turn to 1 Samuel, 17th chapter, we're going to start around the 40th verse or so. 1 Samuel 17, around the 40th. It says, and he took his stick. David takes his stick in his hand and chose for himself 5 smooth stones from the brook and put them in the shepherd's bag which he had, even in his pouch. And his sling was in his hand. And he approached the Philistine. I know we've talked about this occasion so often, David and Goliath. I mean, even the news uses it, David against Goliath kind of figure. The underdog rises above the one who is acknowledged to be the best. But I want to back off and just look at David for a moment. David's possibly 16, maybe 18, but I kind of doubt that he would be 18. He goes out to see about the welfare of his brothers. Wow, that's profound right there. All they're doing is standing there listening to this giant yell at them all in the morning and at night. And you know the story about him asking what would happen for the person who goes out and kills this Philistine. And 3 times he gets the answer. He'll get the daughter of the king. His family won't have to pay taxes, and there's going to be some really important stuff happening besides that. So he gets this answer 3 times. He's somewhat motivated, I guess. I would think probably sitting out with the sheep all day long, you're probably not thinking about the possibility of getting a very good-looking woman, because shepherds were, first of all, not very appreciated. They weren't allowed into the temple to worship. Those kinds of things. This is a yearning. I mean, David is a worshiper. Can you imagine not being able to go worship, being a worshiper like David was? Shepherds just were not trusted. I just wonder how often and how many thousands and thousands of stones did it take David to throw to become proficient at the slingshot. Somewhere during the process, and I'm sure maybe father helped teach him, or brothers, but somewhere down there he began to learn aerodynamics. He understood that round stones do better than flat, jagged stones that slow it down and changes the direction. And here's David willing to go down to the Philistine. And this is, I'm not so much emphasizing what David did at this moment. But what I'm emphasizing is the audacity of an army to let this kid go down. I mean, if it was my grandson who comes up and he's going to go do something that I should do, that I'm not willing to do, I'm capable, but I'm not willing, what would I do? No, Taylor, I'll go do that. I mean, that would be my motivation, I think. Here's a capable army sitting there for 40 days, waiting for something to happen. What were they waiting for? What did they think was going? What's the difference in 38th day and then 39th or the 40th day? I mean, nothing has changed. The Philistine continues to come out. It doesn't get any better. It's not like the cavalry is coming. It's not like they're going to bring in the tanks. I mean, we're not going to drop bombs. I mean, nothing is happening. And you allow a kid to go out and do your fighting for you? It's just appalling to me. Much less how his older brother, who's always putting him in his place, would even allow that to happen. To fight for possibly your future? If he loses, which he probably, everybody knows he's going to lose. If he loses, you become the slave of the Philistines? David goes out, and it says he has a stick in his hand. But when it comes down to Goliath talking to David, he says, "Who am I, a dog, that you come out against me with sticks?" Well, when he said plural, sticks, I take it that he had his rod and he had his staff. I mean, why would you still be carrying this? I would think I would have gone to my oldest brother and said, "Would you mind holding on to these while I go out there and do what I'm supposed to do that you won't do?" I mean, I can't picture him taking his staff and walking out to Goliath. I can see him taking his rod, which is basically a club, and club the guy in the head if you have to. But he walks out there as a shepherd with his pouch of stones, 5, his slingshot wrapped, and this is what the historians say, that those individuals had 3 slingshots that they carried with them. They always had one around their wrist for short distances. They had one wrapped around their head as a headband for longer distances. And they had one wrapped around their waist for real long distances. This is their bomber. This one is their fighter, and this is their helicopter. Just short distance kind of work. What kind of difference did David make? I mean, just think. I told you when I started off, it only takes a spark. You ever been in a group of people when somebody did something stupid and everybody did the same thing? Because, I mean, you ever been there? I mean, all it takes is some motivation. I remember I was a freshman in college, and I was part of the security for our bonfire. Mac Murray was always coming over and trying to burn it. Hardin Simmons was always coming over and burning it. So I was part of the security. And so this guy was motivating us. And when we left, one guy grabbed hold of a fire extinguisher in the administration building. Think about it. A fire extinguisher. And when he grabbed it, everybody went and got one. We got all the fire extinguishers from the administration building. And then the freshman class got a bill from the college. I forgot how many thousands of dollars for new fire extinguishers. I mean, somebody does something, and then everybody participates in what David does.